Yes, we're turning our attention now to security. I believe it was Monday we had here with us the Commissioner of Police for the FCT talking about strategies that the police is employing to combat crime and criminality here in the Federal Capital Territory. We're extending it to other parts of the country this morning, especially as states are now they seem to be taking matters into their own hands. Well, they've always done that, but increasingly so by investing more in equipment that the Nigeria police will use to fight crime and criminality. Only recently, I believe it was the Anambra State government that donated more equipment. They said they were very smart cars, motorcycles, and it would be very helpful if you could see the visuals, because I believe that we have those visuals. They had cars, they had motorcycles, they had CCTV cameras, and this is like the second phase of the program which they're doing. I think they donated about 111 vehicles, 79 motorcycles, and a number of other equipment which should help in the technological advancement in the fight against crime and criminality. Joining us this morning to discuss how that can help, perhaps how states can follow that, and this argument about state policing. If states are doing so much, what exactly is the federal government doing? I mean, they might say that it is to complement the efforts of the federal government, but I don't quite remember when last we saw the federal government police. Yes, and he could correct me if I'm wrong. Say that they were commissioning vehicles, for instance. It's just what I'm observing. But this morning we have with us Mr. Frank Umba, who is the first public relations officer. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. Good morning, our viewers.
Good morning. I'm answering on their behalf, as I always do. But I'm sure that this is certainly a very commendable move on the part of the Anambra State government. How is the police receiving, donations like this?
I think, Mark, you've just captured it in one word: commendable. It was a very beautiful day for us at the city of Awka in Anambra State when we witnessed the rollout of those very smart operational vehicles, 111 in all, with about 70 super smart motorcycles as well, all fitted with modern communication gadgets that are customized and designed to suit security operations. And the beautiful thing here...
Sorry to interrupt you. You know, one of the things that kept on reverberating throughout the commissioning, the launch and everything was super smart. Smart. What do we mean by smart? What is smart about them?
If you follow crime-fighting trends and security trends across the world, just the same way that even in communication, people are beginning to move towards smartness of operations. Security operations are also been designed to function that way. What is smart in those vehicles are basically the kind of security, the kind of communication equipment they've got. They also, the integrated nature of those communication equipments, the fact that they are linked up to a very modern control room and control center. From the control center, they can actually monitor those vehicles, not just mere tracking, but they can monitor them real time. They can know where they are. They can communicate not just in the regular two ways, but sometimes even through audio visuals. And if you look, it was not just the vehicles that were donated. There were also surveillance equipments that were donated. I may not want to speak on the capacity and what those surveillance equipments can do, but those surveillance equipments are super modern surveillance equipments. But because they are security equipments, I wouldn't want to go into details about them. So these are the reasons, and these vehicles are equally linked with those surveillance
Well, why not? I mean,
equipments.
information about the surveillance things are out there. I think one of the cameras, the CCTV cameras we understand can scan, see as far as 4 football fields, something to that effect. I mean, don't you think that that
You can.
criminals should understand the capacity that has been bestowed on the Nigerian police?
There are still so much that we've not told, and that's why I am not allowing you to railroad me into that discussion, because there are still so much that we shouldn't
Railroad.
discuss.
Yeah, just the choice of word.
There's still so much that we shouldn't discuss, because again, it's good for Nigerians to know how much effort the state government has put in. It's good for Nigerians to know that these equipments are there. But because, I mean, this program is watched by both the good, the bad, and the ugly, we must draw a line and try to kind of reach. We just have to regulate what we give out and what we keep in order not to let too much out, because of course the criminals are also watching and listening.
Fair enough. So I mean, we can focus on that. Those are the equipment I think launched only recently by the Anambra State government, donated to the Nigeria Police Force. But people are asking questions as to does the Nigeria Police have the capacity? It's one thing to donate equipment. It's another thing for the people whom you've donated the equipment to know, to have the training, the requisite training, to maximize the use of the equipment donated. Does the Nigeria Police Force have the requisite capacity?
Absolutely have the capacity. And the good thing again in this instance case is the fact that, for example, in the use of the surveillance equipment, before this launch, selected, screened police officers have been undergoing intensive training on how to actually use those equipment, because these are new equipments. They are new technologies that are just being introduced into our operational environment. So they've had a massive training on that, and these trainings will continue. They are ongoing trainings, and we all know the value of this equipment.
So we're happy to hear that the Nigeria Police does. I mean, that has been incorporated, taken into consideration before the equipment was eventually donated. However, this is not the first time we're seeing donation of vehicles by any state government. State governments do this routinely, it would seem. Even corporate bodies. The other day, right here in the Federal Capital Territory, I think it was Dangote, who donated 100 vehicles. I don't know if they were smart, though, somewhere in Eagle Square. And there was big fanfare and commendation around it. One of the things that continues to come to the fore is maintenance, because there will be questions as to whether or not we have the capacity to maintain. What are your assurances on that?
If you look at the history of Anambra State, for example, let me just use that as an example. You will say that this is not the first time they are donating vehicles. And so they've already put in place a structure that takes care of issues that has to do with maintenance. So
that's the state government again.
And the state government working in conjunction with the Nigerian police. And again, you must also remember that these 101 vehicles are not all for the police. 70, of course, the chunk of it, 70 are for the Anambra State Police Command, while the remaining 31 or thereabout are spread out amongst other agencies: the Nigerian Army, the Navy, the Civil Defense, the Federal Road Safety Corps, the Department of State Security Service, NDLE, and the rest of them. So that again it shows that security is an all-encompassing thing. And there's something I equally want to mention here: the fact that out of these vehicles, 40 of them were actually produced locally by Innocent Motors. For me, that is also something we should be driving. When you talk about the issues of maintenance, for example, it becomes easier when we source some of these things locally. And in crime fighting, you will agree with me that when you create jobs, when you fight poverty, when you empower people economically, you are dealing with some of the core criminogenic factors that is actually driving crime, which is unemployment and poverty. So for me, that's also one of the take-home thing that happened in Oka, the fact that a chunk of that, a good number of those vehicles were locally fabricated or locally manufactured. I think that again is indirectly helping the system to also contain and combat crime.
Which is a good thing. But then when you look at how much state governments are contributing towards security, I think a number of states in the Southwest, they have Dawn Commission coming up now. They're looking at jointly contributing to fight, crime and criminality. They're looking at, I think it's a trust fund of some sort, and looking at joint patrols along the major roads of their state. I think the Ogun State government is looking at a security trust fund, so to speak, mirroring that of neighboring Lagos State. Lagos State has had a security trust fund for a while now, all to help, fight crime and criminality and support the security agencies that are working in the state. There are huge questions as to what exactly is happening at the federal level and whether, I think the vice president has said this over and over again, that we cannot continue to fight crime from the center, that, there has to be this devolution. How is the police preparing for this? Because some people say it's inevitable. It's only a matter of time before we begin to talk about state policing. Is this something that the Nigeria police is preparing towards?
Okay, let me comment very briefly on some of these efforts being made by the state government, and quite commendable, using your word again. I was part of the IGP's entourage that visited Ogun State when the incumbent governor, donated about 100 vehicles and some motorcycles, barely 100 days in the office. Those vehicles actually have not been deployed operationally because they're still trying to fit in the communication equipments, the amber lights, and some other stuff. But those are vehicles that will soon be coming into stream operationally, and we believe that when those vehicles come, when those vehicles are deployed, they play a major role in crime fighting and crime prevention. Lagos State, like you rightly said, have been in the forefront. The Lagos State Security Trust Fund, which was developed many years ago, has become an international best practice. As a matter of fact, the incumbent chief executive of the Lagos State Security Trust Fund, Fola Towari, had once appeared in the UN General Assembly somewhere in Brazil to actually deliver a paper on this very unique creation of Nigeria and for Nigerians. So it is something that is now being replicated, being copied and replicated in so many parts of the country. So I'm aware that Ogun State is trying to set up their own security trust fund. I'm also aware that Anambra State has got a security trust fund, and so many other states in the Federation are doing so. But the good news is the fact that at the center, that has also been replicated. The Police Trust Fund has been created. An act of parliament has actually created the Police Trust Fund at the national level. It was assented sometime this year, and administrative actions to give effect to that law are already ongoing. So, and if the Police Trust Fund eventually commences operation, I think that will play a major role. And if you look at the sources of funding for the Police Trust Fund, you will agree that they'll be able to mop up substantial money to be able to tackle some of the issues of equipment, training, and other operational needs of the force.
Would you kindly quickly speak to the issue of state policing and how the federal police is preparing for what could happen in the event of that?
You know, for us as police officers, or for Nigerian police force, for example, my position is simple. The police are the people, and the people are the police. We are ever ready to toe any line that the nation called Nigeria toes when it comes to the issue of security. Issue of state police, for example. We might have some reservations about state police because we believe that rather than blur the line of divide amongst us, it might exacerbate them. We are also scared. We're also afraid of how politicians might deploy some of state police operatives if state police come on stream.
Well, those are certainly fears that continue to exist.
But at the end of the day,
Yes.
if the Nigerian state today decide to adopt state police, we will roll with it. We are ever prepared.
It's not like you'll have much of a choice then, but let us go to Lagos and take some questions from my colleagues.
Well, yes, Frank, I mean, given all of this that state governments are doing, including Security Trust Fund, the latest being Anambra, with those high-tech equipments, do you see a seamless interface between some of these high-tech equipment with the current security architecture that we have in the country? How easy or difficult is it going to be?
If you followed closely the policy thrust of the current Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Abubakar Adamu, you will understand that technology is one of the core components of his policy thrust. The three things that he's paying so much attention to are the issues of intelligence, the issue of a technologically driven police force, and then the issue of a people-oriented police force. And that's why community policing is taking a center stage in his policies. So technologically, we've made a lot of progress. Even at the force headquarters today, we have a state-of-the-art control room, and a lot of the operational vehicles we are deploying today are fitted with cameras that can actually communicate in real time with personnel at the operations. We've acquired body cam for some of our operatives. A lot of the vehicles, operational vehicles in FCT today and even beyond FCT are smart operational vehicles that has got the capacity to actually record incidents as operations are ongoing. And we can talk to our operatives on the ground right from the control room, not through the use of walkie-talkie, but by relating with each operational vehicle one-on-one. So we are making a lot of progress in the use of technology. And so what you see happening in Anambra and what I believe will happen in so many other states, particularly in the Southwest, Southeast, and South-South, are all in tandem, are all in line with the bigger technological platforms that we are developing at the force headquarters level.
Well, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are waiting to see that, and I hope that, many other states follow in tow so that, we can begin to feel safer and we can begin to, show Nigerians that indeed the government is in control of the security situation in the country. We have to thank you for your insights this morning. Frank Mba is a Force Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Police Force. The program continues in a moment. Please stay with us.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at some feedback that's coming through from you now. We've got email, we've got tweets. Let's see, guys. Which one do we start with now? Because we're spoiled for choice. Okay.
Well, one would say...
Okay, maybe I might as well. Okay, so let's go with this one. It's a tweet, actually, and it does come from Henry, who says, the curriculum at the training colleges, mindsets of the policemen on the streets, and poor oversight by the appropriate authorities are the bane of the Nigerian police force.
That just once again re-echoes the worry of a lot of Nigerians,
Yeah.
or concern, I should say, which is, yes, we should invest, but also let's invest in training and retraining, which is very important.
Very important. Well, we have emails and tweets as well, so, okay, we can go with this email now, can we? Okay. This is from Deola. He says, yes, thank you guys. Commend your efforts for discussing national interest. I need you to discuss the efficiency and non-availability. Inefficiency and non-availability of Nigerian passports, both at home and abroad. As I speak, Washington and Atlanta consulate in America have not had booklets for months. He says he hopes that they can attend to this.
Ooh, most certainly something worrying for a number of people. Well, it's another issue.
Yeah, so we hope the CG will look into some of these matters. I know he did speak about it last time, but who knows? We might just check and get latest information to the people who need them. Well, that is the show today. We thank you all for watching. Now, we'll always appreciate your comments. Thank you for watching. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
I am Kayode Okikiolu.
I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful day.
And I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf.